In this video, I show you Saucerman Studios' BeamDown terrain builder that's currently on Kickstarter. But before we get into today's video, just want to share with you what the GGGGs are for this month. Each month, Bob the Beholder picks some of my Patreon supporters to receive gratitude gifts. And for this month of November of 2022, we have an all-in pledge for the Talisman Saber Terrain Kickstarter that's going on right now. Some dice from 3D Agos, $100 to go towards a crowdfunding campaign, and an all-in pledge for this Kickstarter. Go ahead and use the link below to go to my Patreon page to see all of the details if you want to get in on that. So I've done a number of review videos for Saucerman Studios' previous Kickstarters. They've had a number of them for their sci-fi terrain. And in particular, I have really liked their Flatline City sci-fi terrain that they have had two different versions of, a Part 1 and Part 2 Kickstarter. And I'm showing here some samples from that set. Make sure to check out this video if you're interested in seeing some of those details. And most of this video is actually going to be going over to the computer where I have a beta version of the builder that I'm going to walk you through. But I did create this piece right here just as a test print. And right off the bat, some of you might be asking, if you did kickstart this, is this set compatible? And yes, they are. You can definitely use the pieces together like you see here, but the scale is different. So the standard rectangular size for the original Kickstarter Flatline City is 4 inches by 6 inches, and then it is approximately 2.5 inches tall. Now this new set, the base size is going to be 3 inch by 3 inch by 3 inch. So this double unit size here is actually 3 inches wide by 6 inches wide. So it's the same length as the base rectangles here, but it is going to be a little bit skinnier. I'm not 100% sure why Saucerman Studios did change up sort of the base size. I thought they were going to stick to the 4x6 that they had from the Flatline City. But for me personally, I actually like the shrinkage where it did go down to a 3x3 base cube size, as well as the height is also 3 inches tall here versus 2.5 over here. And the reason why is because I totally think this would fit really well with Deadzone, my favorite sci-fi skirmish game. If you haven't seen some of my videos, go ahead and look at my playlist to check out why I love that game so much. Speaking of Deadzone, just wanted to announce for those of you who are close to the St. Louis, St. Charles area, there is going to be a Deadzone casual tournament happening on Saturday, November 19th. So if you're in the area, come on over to the Cave Springs Miniature Market and play some games with us, $5 entry fee. You don't have to have previous experience. This isn't super competitive, but it's a time to have fun. I did print out these trophies for the winners, and there will be also credit with Miniature Market for winners. So come on in and join us that time. So I actually like that they went to a 3 inch by 3 inch cube standard size versus sticking with the old one. But some of you might have wished, if you did back some of the previous Kickstarters, that it was the same size. Now this is for the building set. Currently on the Kickstarter, they have sort of two different sets. And when I do the walkthrough, I will show you that. Also, one of the questions that you might be asking, and honestly, this was sort of my approach when I saw this Kickstarter and this campaign, I was like, why would I need to get that since I have so much variety from two different Kickstarters for Flatline City? Honest truth is if you've already gotten Flatline City, especially that first pledge, you get so much terrain and you are able to mix and match all of it, where I really feel like you don't really need this new BeamDown custom terrain builder unless you're specifically looking to create specific terrain for your games. Now, most of my skirmish games aren't dependent on a specific layout, so I am perfectly happy with their previous two Kickstarters because, again, so much variability. We received so many different files. For example, look at these towers from the second Flatline City Kickstarter. You're able to mix and match and switch things around that you're going to get plenty of terrain from those original sets. But if you really do want to customize and create and design your own, this actually is a pretty good system. And again, I'm going to be using it for Deadzone and printing things out just because it does fit the scale of the 3 inch cubes in that game. Also, one of the things that I was really worried about is the UI, the user interface, has to be really simple in order for it to be consumer friendly, and I'm happy to say that it really is. So when I show you the demo, you're going to see it's drag and drop. It has really easy to use features. I didn't have to read instructions. It's fairly intuitive. So I'm really happy to say that the program that is web-based is actually really good so far. Now, it is a beta version, so obviously they are still, and the whole point of this Kickstarter is to raise enough funds to make it robust and to have all of the features that they are hoping to have in it. But at least the beta version that I have right now is really super easy to use, and that was a must. Also, one of the changes that they made to the campaign is originally you were buying access to this builder that was only going to last for a year, but due to feedback and a lot of people, including myself, thinking, oh, I don't want to have a subscription. Basically, you just have lifetime access to the program once you buy it. So I think that was a fantastic move on their part. If they hadn't done that, I don't know if I would have given my Gaming Geek recommendation for the product in terms of bang for your buck. But because now you're going to have lifetime access to the program, I think actually it's a pretty good deal. In this building, I didn't print out the roof. I'm just using one of the old ones, so it doesn't entirely fit. But again, I think you can mix and match between the different systems and be able to fill out your game board with a ton of sci-fi terrain. It's just even more of a good thing. So let's go ahead and go over to the computer, and I can walk you through not only the Kickstarter campaign, but also the program and what it looks like so far. So once you open up the program in the browser, this is what you're going to see. And again, this is in development, so it's still in the early phases. So all of the features are not going to be available. But there's enough to get a sense of what you're going to be able to build and see. And I was able to produce that sample piece and print that out. So here are your controls, and it's relatively simple. This is left mouse button, right mouse button, middle mouse button. Here we do have access to both Grid City and the Sci-Fi Building Generator. And mostly I'm going to show you the Grid City because the Sci-Fi Builder right now only has the walls. And I can just show you a quick demonstration where you just pull it in and then you click on it like this. You can zoom in and just see what the various objects are. But let's go ahead and go back to Grid City because that's more what I wanted to show you. You really want to start off with a frame, and again you have different options. Just right click and it will place one down. But I'm going to go ahead and show you how to work with a double piece. And then once you have these pieces down, what's really cool about the program is you can click on these little buttons here and it will automatically open up the wall options. So let's say I want to have a big fan, and if I click on it, it automatically builds it in, which is like super friendly interface, right? And you're like, well, but I don't want to have all of the walls be the same thing. So when you click on it the first time, it selects all of the available walls. But you can also individually select. So go ahead and click on this again and see how I have only selected that one. You can select all of them or just select one of them. So let me go ahead and replace this with a solid wall like this. And you're just able to just go through and select the pieces that you want. Here I can go ahead and put in a staircase. And so once you have the different kinds of walls that you want, let's go ahead and try something different here where I can actually opt to put a little barrier there so that it's a full opening. And then now you have the options for corners too. And they're going to have more selections than this, but you can go through and automatically select. These are different sizes, so you can go all the way up. This is the corner piece that I chose for my sample. But there is just a lot of different options that you can have. Also, if you click on this center one, you can put a floor in. Right now, there aren't that many options, so let's go ahead and fill that in. Put a floor in. And then we are able to put a roof in. And what's interesting is you can go ahead and select to put a roof on top up there. Or you can, because I want to print it separately, you can go ahead and put one down on the ground like this and print it separately. So there probably is going to be a way that it exports as separate files even if you build it up top here, but I couldn't get it to work, so just check it out once the finalized version comes out. But we can go ahead and build something down here. Again, it has these sort of options, pre-built options, so you can create this to come across. Again, you don't have to do it to every side, you know, or even after you do it this way, let's say you want this spot to be open, just hit delete and it will get rid of that like that. You can also put a shorter corner in there, just like that, to fill out the corners. And I just love that when you click things, it just appears and fills in automatically. Let's go ahead and put some extensions in. And look, you just have so many different options. You can experiment and see what kind of edges you want. I mean, and this is just a small sampling of what it might look like. So I think this is great. Let's go ahead and just fiddle with this just a little bit so that you can see some of the features here. But here are some edges that you can put in. Again, select in different kinds of walls. And then let's change this one out to have an opening for a door. Put some corners in. And then it does like there will be in the future some kind of option to decide what kind of connectors you want, whether that's open lock or something else, possibly maybe magnet holes. I'm not 100% sure what the options are going to be, but right now that feature doesn't look like is available. You can still put a floor in, which I think is great. And then again, let's go ahead and see what kind of cool options we can get for a roof. And check out these inserts. I think that this is super cool. Look at that. And then let's just select this one, put this one in. So there's just going to have a lot more options. Again, you can put in these different walls if you want, really bulky. And these are really cool. And then you have these mid sections that you can use to fill in. Let's go ahead and do that. And look how cool that looks. I mean, that's just great. And then let's say, yeah, we want to put a corner in here. And look how easy that was just to build that out. And then let's say you don't want that in there. Instead, you want miniatures to be able to sit in there. And that's how easy it is. Let's go ahead and create some variety for this wall. Stick that in. And then here you can put in some inserts, some decorative inserts like this, or something like this. I mean, there's just so many different designs that you can put in. And based off of the demonstration that I saw on the Kickstarter page, it looks like they're going to have a lot of different kind of greeblies you can also stick onto here. So just a ton of flexibility and a fun way to design things. So just with a click, you can totally design or create something different according to how you want it. So then once you have the pieces that you want, you go ahead and come up here and export. And right now it does look like it's recognizing these two as separate files. And so you just name them, let's say test 1. And then maybe this one is test 2. And then you can export. And then it will export as an STL file. Looks like here. So let's go ahead and double click and they will go ahead and open up here in Microsoft 3D Builder exactly the way that I configured it. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, and look, check this out. It went ahead and put that design on the interior as well. So that's really cool. Let's see, it's doubling up here. So I wanted to see how to export the roofs, but it looks like it's only recognizing these ones. So I think the way that I would do this until some of the bugs are figured out is go ahead and delete these. Let's see what happens. Can we export group models together with right click to export? Ah, there it goes. Okay, so we grouped it together. We're exporting. And then there you go. Ready to print. And then when I printed out my sample piece, I did not need any supports. I found even with the previous campaigns, I've never really had to use supports. So I'm trusting that these are going to print. I mean, my sample piece printed without supports, which is pretty good. So that's a quick overview of how to use this program. And I think, again, super intuitive and able to do a lot. I'm sure that there's a lot more. If you hit reset, totally erases that. And then you're able to build out. So this is a 3-inch by 3-inch grid. So you can create an entire sort of city if you wanted to fill out your tabletop. See what that looks like before you export to print. So now I'm going to walk you through the Kickstarter campaign. Right now there's 9 days left to go. It does end on November 17th. So it's going to finish out pretty soon. About 17,000 that has been raised. And I am totally glad that they got rid of this just 1 year limitation. There is no subscription, which I think was a good choice on their part. And the current pledge levels here is 79 Australian, which is $51 US to get the Grid City. That was the set that I was using for the demo. And then just to get the sci-fi builder generator, which was showing the broken walls and such, that's going to be $64. It looks like you're going to be getting more files there than with the first one. And then the all-in pledge will be about $96 US. You're getting both of them. In addition, all of the unlocked stretch goals. So let me go ahead and scroll through here so that you can see. So here's a variety of different things that you can create with the Grid City Architect. Again, base 3-inch. And here's a GIF showing something being built out. This looks super cool. Look at this wall that they put around the city with all of these different kinds of texture added to it. So they do have intention of having a ton of different options to be able to put automatically into your builds. This is really curious. That looked like some modern terrain or fantasy terrain that might be unlocked. Not 100% sure. And it looks like they're going to have some kind of option here. Again, this is with the sci-fi building generator. Looks like it's terrain that can be used for Necromunda. Again, this is more of a sci-fi corridor set or dungeon crawler set. A couple of different videos that shows you how it's going to work. And so the more expensive sci-fi building generator, you see, gives you all of these different options. You can create sort of gothic walls like that, more like the inside of a ship. And then the Grid City one, which is the one I would probably primarily be using, shows you some variability here with what you can do. And then I didn't have access, but I guess there's going to be 2 other sets. The modern building set, and that's where we saw that house that I think could also be used for fantasy settings. But if you have games like Marvel Crisis Protocol that requires a modern building, looks like that's going to be an option as well. And then desert houses, possibly for Legion or other games. So these sets, I don't see over here to the right as an option. So maybe they're going to be stretch goals, or maybe you'll be able to add on. And then if you did miss the previous Kickstarters, you are able to add them on. So again, this is one of your best deals. Over 580 models. This is going to give you massive amounts of flexibility. And then the second wave of Flatline City gave you different size buildings, larger buildings. So again, even more variability for your build outs. And Lost Colony is more sort of spaceship wreckage. And then this one, which I actually have never printed out, was their very first one, the Ordis Station. And here you're going to see examples of tons of different ways that you can build things out. And here are the things that they are working on. Check this out. This looks super interesting, that you're going to be able to build with the sci-fi building generator. So it does seem like the sci-fi, the more expensive pledge here, is going to have greater flexibility with the kind of builds that you make. Whereas the Grid City Architect, you are restricted, it looks like, to the 3-inch blocks as a base. And then these are the prints that they created. I printed mine at 0.2 millimeter height. And that's enough detail for me, but this looks super smooth. Here's some of the modern buildings here, which looks great. Let's really quickly run over to their website, see what they have over there. It seems like they have a free file that you can download and test. And then you have opportunities just to late pledge some of their previous bundles. So again, use the links below to go to this site if you want to take a look at that. Let's go back here. Let's take a look at the stretch goals. Basically ruins, some walkways have been unlocked, walls, door frames. This platform builder's kit looks super cool. More toppers, the walls. So a number of things have been unlocked. And my guess is even if these things don't unlock, they will be assets that will probably be available for purchase once the Kickstarter is over and they deliver. Because it looks like they've already created a lot of these things. For example, I was able to access these stairs and ramps. So my guess is if it doesn't unlock during this campaign, that they're going to make it available for purchase within the program. I mean, this is what's really cool to me, is you're able to change all the different designs on the faces of your walls. So I do think that this has a lot of versatility, and because the builder is so intuitive and so easy to use, this definitely is worth it for those of you who want to and enjoy creating your own terrain. I'm going to be using this terrain not only for Deadzone, but also for games like 5 Parsecs from Home, Star Breach, Stargrave, any of those sci-fi skirmish games I think this would be great for, as well as any sci-fi wargaming. The campaign is going to be ending soon. By the time I post this video, there will be less than a week. It's going to end on Thursday, the 17th. So use the link below if you are interested in getting in on that. Otherwise, use my link to go to my Patreon page, where you're going to have an opportunity to potentially be chosen by Bob to receive this all-in pledge. And also check out the other gratitude gifts that we have for this month. Happy printing, happy gaming. We'll see you next time.